Welcome back. The month of March is New Zealand Book Month, and we spoke with a couple of local authors about their books and the industry. Tonight we chatted with Garth, who has just released his first book.
It's a teen fantasy, and it's about Cole Fletcher and his family, and they find themselves transported into DreamTime. And into DreamTime they have to go through the Shimmer, which is a curtain of light full of colours and like the Northern Lights. And when they get there, he finds that there's the guardians that protect people in their dreams from dark creatures, and they and he's got to find the power to try and defeat them because they threaten to take over.
Oh, it sounds interesting, because this is your first book. What are you doing before you wrote?
Working and dreaming of writing. I read lots and I watch lots of stories on TV and movies, and just keep thinking, I could do this. What if all these things could happen? And I started writing down little bits and pieces on paper, and from that these ideas came and sort of went into a story.
Wow. Because how did you come to the decision that you actually were going to start?
Well, I've started for a long time. I was 11 and I wrote a little pamphlet with cartoons and stories, and my sister still remembers Barney the Bullet, my little cartoon that I wrote. And then, at school I loved English and liked writing, and it wasn't until I got a few years ago that I started thinking, I can do this. All my notes, I wrote lots of notebooks everywhere with lots of little stories in them. And my lady Trish, she says, "Come on, you can do this. Sit down, start writing." And so I did, and it's been a lot of fun and a lot of hard work. But yeah.
How did you find that discipline of actually sitting down and writing in your spare time?
Oh, dreadful. There's far too many other things, but it was just so filling my head with all these ideas, and I thought, I've got to get this out, and even if it's just for myself, but I so enjoyed it, and I so enjoyed the characters and the story and putting it all together. Finding the time's hard, but that's really difficult. And you've got work and life and lots of other things going on. But yeah, it was really nice to be able to build it up.
Kind of a hobby that takes over.
It does.
Now, people say the hardest thing is actually finding a publisher. You were saying before about J.K. Rowling being turned down 14 times. How did you find that process? I was really lucky being in Tauranga. There's a writing group called Tauranga Writers, and they're really encouraging and supportive, and you take them on parts of your story and they can critique it, and they've been really good. And from that, there's Ocean Books, which is an online e-publishing and sort of printing, well, not printing, but and they were formed from it, Tauranga Writers, and so I had those contacts. You've still got to put in the hard work and have it done properly, but they've been wonderful, absolutely wonderful. We've heard a lot about them. They seem to be really... So where did you get the inspiration for your characters?
What I did was, through my readings, I found stories about ley lines, lines that circle the globe and intersect. And in those intersections, the ancient people believed that you could vanish. And I thought, what if you could do that in your sleep? Suddenly you vanished from here and went to somewhere else. And that's where I thought, but how did you get there? And that was where I loved the Northern Lights, and it's one of my things I'd love to go and see. And so I thought, maybe they went through that, and from that, because dreams are fascinating things, and I thought, so it sort of just built its way up into a story, and the characters came from all different places, but mainly up here, and I struggled a bit, getting it all out, and it was just I loved writing the characters and writing them down and saying, hey, look, this is his good bits, this is his bad bits, and this is what he'd do here. And yeah, it was. Now I've got a wall full of bits of paper.
Because it is going to be a trilogy, isn't it? So you're... Yes.
So the second one's already started, and the third one's all mapped out, and I've got the characters I love so much in it. I'm going to write stories about them as well. So yes, I've got a lot of work and a lot of fun exploring DreamTime.
I mean, how do you I mean, it sounds like such an imaginative book. How do you even start to imagine that and get into that process of trying to write it down in words in such a descriptive way that the reader will believe it, you know?
Yeah, it's a lot to do with what ifs, you know. If you can watch something and say, oh, what if this happened? And then you can just sort of add that, and then that just sort of leads to the next bit, and next bit, and next bit. And, you know, the movies nowadays are so vivid, and even on TV is so wonderfully, you know, The Lord of the Rings was just fantastic to watch. It was what I imagined as I read a book that it would be, and so that's what I wanted to write in here, something that I imagined and that people could see just how visual and wonderful and how they'd like to go there and enjoy.
So who is the book actually kind of targeted at?
Mainly 10 to 14-year-old boys, but you know, he has a sister Lily, who's the main character in it as well. But it's adventure, you know, that's the genre of books that I like, that young teen fiction books with lots of adventure and lots of, you know, kids running around being heroes and finding ways to defeat the baddies, and yeah, I love that sort of style of book. It's a lot of fun to read.
And Garth has kindly gifted us a copy of his book if you would like to own